Is it possible to design a yard for resort living in any season? This beautiful New Jersey backyard is proof that no matter where you live, you can create a resort experience that you get to enjoy year-round. So we designed a timeless luxury yard that integrates perfectly the modern, timeless aesthetic of the architecture of this home and gives them a space to be, whether they're enjoying the pool on a hot summer's day or simply enjoying the beautiful view in the depth of winter inside the coziness of their home. Now let's go check out this yard. So we started our tour today in this beautifully designed outdoor kitchen. Now this outdoor kitchen does take into consideration the fact that we do have 4 seasons here. So I would say that this kitchen, it consists of a barbecue, and the only other feature behind me is the trash can. Just because there's gonna be a lot of temperature changes through the season, sometimes it's easier just to have the basics. But that being said, we do have a very large, oversized counter that acts as a buffet where the food can be set out, especially in the nice summer months and even during the spring and fall transitional times. Now, a very important thing to take into account for your outdoor kitchen space are integrated features, and this design is a perfect example of that. So here we have our fan and our heaters, and really no matter where you live, both of these are necessary. Some places you may get more use out of the heaters than the fan, but almost every outdoor kitchen space definitely make sure to account for these. Another thing that I love about this space is take into account the sun pattern. So we have these louvered shutters over here that will control the amount of sunshine, especially on a very hot day. And we have this giant slider screen, which can add even more shade if we really want to use this space, especially in the heat of a hot summer afternoon. So before we go to the pool, I want to show you this truly unique waterfall feature. This is something we have not done a lot, and it looks so beautiful. So let's check it out together. So what I especially love about this water feature is that I feel it ties the modern and the more traditional elements of the space together. Obviously, we're in a beautiful natural setting. All around me, you can see so much green trees, beautiful lush plants, and I think this really sets it off. The water cascading down gently, and it's set far back enough from the main living space so the water is not overly loud. It has just that really nice trickling sound, almost like a brook, and it goes into a pondless basin. So what I especially love about this design, about this space, about how it all works together is that modern design does not have to be sleek. It doesn't have to have cold, hard edges. There is so much warmth in this space, and yet it is such a beautiful modern design. So just remember, depending on the materials that you choose, such as this beautiful stone and wood look combination, you can have a very modern design that feels very cozy and warm at the same time. So when we start a design process, we always take into consideration the environment that surrounds it. Now, as you can see, this environment, there's so much lush green, especially compared to California. And we feel like when we have such a beautiful natural backdrop, we don't want to compete with that. And because of that, the design can be more minimal and it will actually be more impactful. So remember, if you have such a beautiful natural setting, you don't want to try and overwhelm it. You don't want to compete with it, but you want to draw the eye upward and outward. And I think this design does that beautifully. So to me, what really is a standout about this pool itself is, of course, the acrylic panel. And I know this is something is not for every space, but here it works so beautifully. It draws your eye through the pool and it almost makes the swimming pool feel like a modern art piece. So even in the winter when it's not being used, it's gonna be beautiful to look at, almost like a reflecting pond, and really just elevates the entire space. So another question we get a lot from our clients that do experience a true winter is, how do I winterize my pool? Now, as you can see, this pool does not have a cover. That's something that is very unusual, especially in a place like New Jersey that does experience a very long, heavy winter. So how do they deal with that? Well, the client told me that they have to keep it heated throughout the winter, which obviously is something to keep in mind. A more traditional approach would be to design it with an automated pool cover. That way it's fully sealed. But just keep in mind, there's more than one way to approach how to winterize your yard. So when it comes to materials, I want to point out that typically bigger is better when it comes to tile, especially if you do have a large expansive space. Having oversized tile really just gives it a modern, clean look when you really are not seeing too many grout lines. So keep that in mind, that typically bigger is better when it comes to tile selection. And then we also have this gorgeous oversized seating space. And as you can see, this, whether it's just the homeowner and his family using it, or there's a large party There's tons of space and plenty of room for people, whether they want to be really close to the fire or be a little bit far from it. Just a very useful and beautiful seating space. So one thing that's very important when it comes to designing a sunken seating space is making sure that you have adequate back support. So typically, the minimum you want is it coming to the bottom of your shoulders. Anything else is gonna feel a bit like a bench and you're gonna have to sit pretty straight. You're not gonna have a lot of support. But as you can see, this is perfect height. You could go even taller if you wanted, but I would say this is the minimum height, and actually, especially if you want to put your arm out like this, but always keep in mind that the height of the back of the seating for the sunken area is very important. So one of the challenges in designing modern spaces is that it can be too easy to use, too much hardscape, and then everything starts to feel just really harsh and heavy. So it's important to find ways to incorporate greenery wherever possible, even in very small batches. And as you can see here, we have these Mondo grass, very minimal planter, and these will stay very small. They give it a slightly zen vibe, but just this little tiny detail added along the footpath softens the space and makes it more beautiful to the eye. One other thing I want to point out is the coping. Now, standard coping is a foot wide. You want to think about, do I want to be able to sit on the ledge? Obviously, this is a raised pool, so it's made to kind of perch on the ledge. This will not work with every design, but this is perfect. So anyone that's in the pool can pop out, pop back in, sit on the side, dangle their feet in. So this is a great option for any pool that's really designed more for hanging out, especially if it's not an overly large pool. So I know a lot of clients think that infinity edges are only for pools that are either on a hillside or have a beautiful view behind it of, let's say, an ocean where it kind of blends into the water. But I'm here to show you that you can use an infinity edge in creative ways. Obviously, this is a very small portion of the pool, but just adding it onto the back end really elevates it, as from the main house, you see the water overflowing and it draws your eye once again to the beautiful natural backdrop. So one design principle to remember is that symmetry combined with asymmetry works perfectly. Sometimes our clients get very hung up on they want everything in the yard to be symmetrical. As you can see, the pool itself is very symmetrical, the sunken seating behind it and the two hardscape patios. But if you see behind me, the outdoor kitchen is actually longer in length than the lounging patio on the left. So when you combine symmetry with some elements of asymmetry, it actually makes the design more dynamic and more interesting. So remember, you don't need to have perfect symmetry. You don't need to have a perfect mirror image to have a good design. A good design actually combines elements of both. So a great design always has multiple lounging and seating options. We've already talked about the sunken seating, and here we are in the outdoor living room. One standout feature to me is this fireplace, which actually connects to the primary bedroom. So it's a see-through fireplace that connects both spaces. What I love is that this space is fully covered. It's a living room. We have the automatic screen if we need that shade in the late afternoon, but then you're also connected to the sunken seating, which is right in front of me, and the swimming pool. So it's great for anyone that wants to have a breakaway conversation, but you're still connected to the rest of the yard. This New Jersey yard is proof that you don't need to live in a tropical climate to have a yard that you can use throughout the year. So if you also want a backyard that you can use in every season, make sure to book a call with our team today. And you can do so by clicking the link in the description box below. Thank you so much for joining me today on this yard tour. And be sure to check out this playlist here that has many yard tours that you'll also love. And if you like this one, you'll definitely want to check these out.